Hello guys, Pilot Steve. I've been getting a lot of requests for the ordering process, how to order this airplane. And we're talking about the VL3 Evolution by JMB. And as part of this series, you've seen that I've been to the factory, I've done the test flight. And then comes the time whether you want the airplane or not. And there is a long lead time right now, at least 12 months. You want to go ahead and get your order in and kind of pick from the different options what you want so that the factory can know what parts they're going to need on hand, what avionics, etc. And they're pretty good. In the U.S., you're dealing with Avalon Aviation, and you're buying the airplane from them, not directly from the factory, although they have a very tight relationship with the factory. And the money's going to go to Avalon, and then they're going to place the order with JMB. Now, one thing I was a little bit not real happy with was that once I did place the order, I never heard anything back from pretty much anybody. So I asked to get a confirmation from JMB that the order was placed, and they sent me a nice letter and did that. So I feel a little better about it. And as you know, I paid 100% up front for the airplane. I wanted to go ahead and lock the price in and let them know that if they happen to get an opening, I'm ready to go. And nothing's happened yet, but I'll keep you updated as to the progress once I hear anything else back. This is getting close to Oshkosh week, so I assume most of the factory people, plus all the folks in the U.S., will probably be at Oshkosh. Unfortunately, I can't make it this year. I usually go every year, but I'm still in Spain. And with the commercial flights, with all the cancellations and delays, I was planning on doing a round trip back to the U.S. from Spain, and then going back to the U.S. when our trip was over. But I don't want to get stuck somewhere. I only have like a 3-day window that I want to go to Oshkosh, and I'm worried that if I get bumped off a flight or a flight gets delayed or something, then I'll miss all of Oshkosh, even though going through all the problems of getting there. So I think I'm just going to stay in Spain, monitor what goes on, see what new announcements there are. I do have several friends that are going to Oshkosh, and I'll get them to go by and talk to folks that I wanted to talk to. So with that in mind, I thought I'd go through the price list, although I've got the prices not on the video because I'm not sure if they're going to stay this way or current, but you can go to the website and request the latest price list and see what everything is going to cost. So let's get into it, and any comments or questions, I really would appreciate it. Information about the stuff that I've picked out. Now remember, this is all my own choices from my expertise, with a little bit of help from JMB and the guys there as to what we think will be the best setup for me. And you might have a different opinion, and that's fine. I'm not saying this is the best way to do it. This is just the way I did it. And one last thing, I appreciate it if you have time and you enjoy the videos to subscribe to the channel. trying to get the numbers up to 1,000 subscribers. And I do this mainly as a hobby, for fun. I'm a IT person. I stay in front of a computer a lot, but I enjoy making the videos and learning how to do the different video editing things that I do. So once again, if you have time, if you don't mind, if you would subscribe, I would appreciate it a lot. All right, so let's get into the options list, and I'll go through it with you and let you know what I've ordered. And once again, a little disclaimer, this is just the way I did it. I'm not trying to tell you guys this is the way you have to do it. And any comments or questions, be glad to help out. All right, so the airplane with the 915 is comes standard with the hydraulic prop, the parachute, I call it the rescue system, the normal interior, paint, 140-liter tanks, canopy, Behringer brakes, cabin heating and ventilation, carbon instrument panel. So if you ordered it just like this, it's pretty decked out, except for the avionics. It comes with one Garmin G3X, excuse me, and obviously you're going to want to up that to some other options. So the base plane is pretty well decked out, get you everything you need. So let's go on next to the next section. Well, here's the avionics options from Garmin mostly, and I believe you can also add things that are not on this list. I've talked to them about several different options. They like to stick with Garmin stuff mostly, but I'm sure that if there's some device you want in there that's not on this list, you can certainly go for it. But let's go through what I've done. Naturally, we need a nav and comm radio. And a lot of these things can be remoted. You can order the remote version, which means that the only interaction you have with the device is through the G3X Touch. Or if you get the actual device, then you have it in the panel and have a little bit more control over it, and obviously can see what it's doing a little bit better. So the Navcom radio, the audio panel, and I've had a plane with the audio panel remoted, and it's really a lot nicer to have it in your sight so you can see exactly how you've got it set all the time, whether you're on COM 1 or COM 2, and what the intercom settings are, and what the avionics setting, VOR versus GPS, and all that kind of stuff. It's really nice to have the ability just to see the lights. So I'm looking forward to having that in the panel. And then the different navigation devices. I'm going full IFR panel, so I can file and fly IFR if I need to. And I had first thought about maybe just getting a non-VOR ILS navigator, because I very seldom fly or need to fly ILS approaches anymore. I certainly don't fly VOR approaches. With all the GPS approaches available now, I don't see the reason to fly those, especially the non-precision approaches, ILSs. excuse me, not ILSs, but the VOR approaches and circling approaches and those type of things. There's pretty much a GPS approach to whatever runway you need nowadays. And I would have liked to have had the 750, but it's so large it would take up the panel, and I would have had to remote just about everything. And the last plane I had did have the 650 in it, and so I'm going to go with that. This is the XI series. The other one I had was the original 650, and I know there's quite a few software upgrades and hardware upgrades in this device, so I think it'll do just fine. Obviously, I want ADS-B in and out, plus I want the ability to have all that information streamed via Bluetooth to whatever devices I have in the airplane with me, like an iPhone or an iPad or whatever. And I want two touchscreen displays. One comes standard, so this is the second one. And then the G5 I'm not going to go with. I thought I would need it for backup. It's a little square backup panel that's battery backed up, but because I'm going to put battery backup on each G3X screen, I'm going to not put the G5 in just to save panel space. I think I'll be all right with that. If I lose my G3X screens in flight, then I'll just have to rely on iPad or whatever other backup I have. I've never lost a Garmin display in flight, and I've had several airplanes with Garmin in it, and I feel pretty confident that those things hold up very well, especially with battery backup on each screen. Each screen has got its own AHRs, et cetera, et cetera. I feel pretty safe with that. Plus, I always fly with a secondary navigation device, iPad, iPhone, and some type of ADS-B receiver that normally has AHRs in it. Obviously, I want the Garmin autopilot, and there's two different autopilot heads, so when you're ordering, be sure that I like the one that has the heading and altitude controls on it. You can get it without those and save a little bit of space, but then you have to control everything from the G3X Touch. I kind of like having the buttons right on the autopilot device itself. And you need a VL3 of some kind. It's integrated with the GPS, so all that works well. And then, of course, a vertical standard compass required, so we'll get that here. And that's pretty much my Avionics setup. There again, if you guys see something that you think would work better, leave me some comments. But this is a pretty nice panel setup. The G3X Touch, if you haven't used it, it's quite a device. I have the Garmin G2000 in my TTX, and although it's a great device also, the G3X Touch actually has more functionality. One thing that the G2000 does not have, which I kind of miss, is it doesn't have en route charts display. When you get the subscription from Garmin, they're there, but they just don't display on the G2000. On the G3X Touch, you can pick, VFR charts, IFR charts, whatever you want. You can look at them, and then you can overlay stick charts on top of those. Of course, you get all your approach plates and that type of thing. So it's quite a device. It does everything you need, and it's very easy to use. You just the bottom right hand of the panel, you have a little knob that you turn to go through each page. And in flight, it's just very simple. And if you got two of them, then you can put multiple things up there. Each display can be split, and so it's almost like having 4 different displays. It's a nice setup. It works well. And now finally we have just some miscellaneous options. Just depends on what you want. They offer 2 propellers. These are hydraulically controlled constant speed props, and they have a 3-blade or a 4-blade. And the 4-blade obviously looks better. It's a more modern looking propeller. But after discussions with the factory and the folks there, they claim the 3-blade has a little better performance, especially in cruise. Obviously, we're buying these airplanes for speed, so I want as much cruise speed out of it as I can get. The 4-blade is a little bit shorter prop, so if you're flying out of fields or runways that have a lot of rocks and that type of thing, maybe the 4-blade might be a better option. I think you'll see a lot of those in the videos on YouTube, but they're flying out of grass fields or non-paved clean fields. That might be an option. In the last airplane I had with a Rotax, I had the Airmaster prop, which instead of hydraulic, it's an electric prop. And it's set up for the engine. And at the factory, I saw one plane being fitted with the Airmaster prop, and I'm waiting to hear back on performance and what they think of it. I really do like that prop. I think the simplicity of the non-hydraulics and the electric prop is just more modern, and that's what I'm trying to get out of this airplane, the latest and the greatest. And I just like the idea of an electric motor up there instead of all that oil and stuff, where there's chance for leaks and other problems with a hydraulic prop. And one other advantage of the electric prop is it does have a full feather mode. So if you were to lose an engine in flight, you could feather the prop and get quite a bit more glide range out of it. I kind of like that idea. So although I've opted for the 3-blade hydraulic prop, they know that I'm looking at the Airmaster. And if it works out, I'm sure I'll switch to it, go with that one. And of course, all your lighting, I wanted it all, as much lighting as I can get, cockpit, night kit, and all that type of thing. So we got that. And I definitely wanted the cargo door. Getting equipment in and out of a small airplane like this is tough, especially getting it behind the seats. And this cargo door just takes that out of the equation. It's much easier to load the airplane. It's not a whole lot of room back there. You got room for maybe 2 carry-on size bags plus miscellaneous gear. And that's about it. So you want as easy access as you can get back there. I have a hanger, so I didn't go for the canopy cover. And you know, obviously when you land at a foreign airport, it's going to be outside, but that's okay. Normally if there's bad weather, I'll ask them to put it in a hanger. Definitely wanted the camera landing gear. It's nice to be able to see exactly what the gear is doing. And in case you don't get 3 greens, you want to see at least what state you're in. Definitely wanted the co-pilot brakes. And the electric flaps just gives you a little more room in the cabin. You don't have the large flap lever in the center console. And I like the idea of the adjustable pedals. Since the seats are fixed, they don't move. So you want to go ahead and be able to adjust something over there. In the interior options, I wanted the nicer interior. One thing I did get was the double thickness pillows. That's not on the order here, but they highly recommended them, so we've added that. And I like the idea of the certified safety belts. In a small airplane, you can get bounced around pretty good. You want to be pretty well glued to the seats and not bouncing around. And then the paint job, I didn't care much for a custom paint job that nobody else could use. I think their standard paint is very, very great, very nice, and so I'm going with just one of their standard patterns and colors, and they'll work with you on all the different colors and that type of thing, and also on the interior, whatever colors you want. So there's quite a few options there, and I'm a long way off from that, so when it gets a little closer, I'll start looking at that stuff a little bit closer. So that's the options. The airplane is ordered, and that's the ordering process. And then obviously you got to pay for the thing. So you're going to pay Avalon directly, and they're going to place the order with JMB. And like I said, the last step is actually paying for the airplane. And you have several options. This is the standard one that they quote, and it's 30% when you place your order, 35% 10 months before delivery, and the balance of 30% 5 months before delivery. And then of course everything has to be paid up before delivery. Now I've got my airplane, I'm going to have it shipped to the U.S., where they have a facility in North Carolina that the container comes into, and the airplane is reassembled, and it's a good idea to go there and be there when all that happens. And that's what I'm planning on. I may bring the airplane to Spain. I'm still investigating different ways to fly here in Spain, based on whether I should keep it as an N-numbered airplane or have a EU number. But I'm probably just going to keep it in the U.S., at least in the beginning, and then decide what I want to do. There are some delivery costs, and of course those things are unable to be quoted now. You can get an idea, but delivery costs have gone way up with all the different fuel price increases and shipping increases. But 10, 12 months from now, we'll see what it's like. But count on some kind of cost to ship it to the U.S., including the insurance. You want it insured from the second it leaves the factory for sure. It's insured at the factory by JMB, but once it leaves, it's your airplane. You want to be sure you're covered on everything. Like I said, I went ahead and paid 100% up front, so I'm locked in with the price. Don't have to worry about price increases, which I'm sure with the inflation the way it is now, there's going to be some. As you can see here, the standard clause in their contract is that they can increase up to 5% without any approval. You've already okayed that in your purchase agreement. But if it goes over 5%, then you have the option to cancel the order. And I think that's very fair. As hard as these planes are to get, I doubt even with an over 5% increase, anyone's going to cancel their order. But that's the process. The plane's ordered. I'm just sitting back and waiting. And I'll do another video when anything happens of consequence. Right now I'm excited. I'm ready to get the airplane. I have the TTX, so I can fly around pretty much anywhere I want, but I like the idea of having this second plane, which is just as fast as the TTX, on about a third the fuel usage. And there's a lot of times I just go out flying just to different places around the Southeast, and when I fly myself in the TTX, it's kind of overkill. The cost of doing that is comparable to commercial flights. So, although, you know, all of us like to fly, that's the fun of it. But there's a lot of events and things I like to go to, lunches, breakfasts, meeting with the guys, traveling to see family and friends. Like I say, if I'm by myself, which is a lot of the time, I'm looking forward to the VL3. I think it'll be a lot of fun. So I will keep you updated. Questions or comments, please post them. And one last thing, once again, I really would appreciate it if you subscribe to the channel and we can hit that 1,000 subscriber mark. That would be great. So this is Pilot Steve signing off, and we'll be back in the U.S. in about 30 days, and I'm sure I'll do some TTX videos for you. One thing I'm going to have to do when I get back is go ahead and do an IPC and a biannual flight review. I'm probably current if I go out and do a bunch of approaches, but I just like to get that extra training and up to date, especially when I haven't flown in 3 months. So just a good idea. We all want to stay proficient and be sure that there's nothing that we've kind of forgotten. Always want to be safe. So you guys have a good one, and we'll talk to you soon.